Some people end up behind bars for reasons that go far beyond a simple choice between right and wrong. The real question is, what drives a person to that point? And is poverty always at the root of it? Welcome to the Philippines, a country of extraordinary beauty, deep culture, and staggering inequality. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a reality that rarely makes international headlines, the chain that connects extreme poverty to crime, and crime to some of the most overcrowded prisons on the planet. Most people are familiar with poverty. Fewer are familiar with what lies beneath it, a level of destitution so extreme it doesn't appear in most economic models or global poverty indexes. It exists in pockets around the world, but perhaps nowhere as visibly and as densely as in certain districts of the Philippines. This is Manila, the capital, one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. And within Manila lies Tondo, a district so overwhelmingly packed with humanity that it has been described as a country within a country. Over 70,000 people live here, in an area where personal space is essentially non-existent, roughly one person per square meter. Walk through these streets and you'll encounter something that will stop you in your tracks. Thousands of families in this district depend not on fresh food purchased from markets, but on something called pagpag. It's a Filipino word, and what it describes is leftover food, discarded meals collected from the bins of fast food chains like McDonald's, KFC, and Jollibee. These scraps are gathered every night from outside restaurant doors, brought back, washed multiple times, recouped, and sold in the streets of Tondo for the equivalent of less than $1 per portion, enough to feed a family. This is not a scene from a film. There are no props, no actors. The crowds you see gathering around these street stalls are real people buying what is, for many of them, their only meal of the day. Tens of thousands of people depend on this system. An entire informal economy has grown around it, collectors, resellers, cooks, all operating within a cycle built on what wealthier parts of the city throw away. And food isn't the only thing people extract from waste here. Tondo sits close to the port and is surrounded by vast dump sites. Entire communities earn their income by sorting through garbage, separating plastic, cardboard, and metal to sell by weight. Some people live inside landfills. Not metaphorically. Physically. They build their lives around what others discard. The conditions these families live in are almost impossible to describe. We visited a home in Tondo where 9 people share a single bed. 9 more live directly above, on a wooden balcony so fragile it could give way at any moment. Manila is one of the fastest growing cities in Asia, and yet large numbers of its residents have received none of the benefits of that growth. The situation extends beyond Tondo. Here in Manila North Cemetery, thousands of people have made their permanent homes among the graves. Some sleep inside tombs. Others have constructed shelters directly on top of burial plots. It is not a matter of being unafraid of death, it is a matter of the cost of living having exceeded what they can possibly afford. Families cook here, children play football on grave slabs, and entire communities have formed in a space designed for the dead. Because for them, the alternative is worse. When survival itself becomes illegal, the boundary between necessity and criminality starts to blur. And in certain corners of Manila, that boundary has all but disappeared. Hidden within the back alleys of the city lies a market for forged documents, a fully operational, surprisingly accessible underground economy where a fake driver's license, a fabricated academic degree, or even a falsified passport can be produced in under 2 hours. This market doesn't only serve locals. Many individuals from across East Asia, South Korea, Taiwan, and beyond have relocated to the Philippines specifically because forged documents allow them to assume entirely new identities. Fugitives. Fraud suspects. People running from legal systems in their home countries. The Philippines, for all its beauty, has become, in certain pockets, a sanctuary for those who need to disappear. From Manila, we traveled to Cebu, the Philippines' second largest city, and then deep into the surrounding wilderness, hours of driving through remote villages and dense forest, to find something equally troubling: illegal gunsmiths. Men who manufacture firearms entirely by hand, hidden from view, far from any regulatory oversight. One of the men we met started making weapons at the age of 12. Not out of passion. Not out of fascination with mechanics. But because poverty gave him no other option. Today, he is 75 years old and still works the same trade with his hands. he told us it now takes him around 10 days to produce a single firearm. When we asked whether his weapons had ever been used to take a life, his answer was simple and devastating: many have already died from them. The illegal firearms he produces don't stay with the people who make them. They move up the chain, bought cheaply by middlemen, sometimes pass through a licensing process that is itself corrupt, and sold onward by businessmen who have the right connections to avoid prosecution. The craftsmen at the bottom of this chain take all the risk. Those at the top take all the profit. This is the invisible architecture of crime in the Philippines, not isolated incidents, but systems. Systems built on desperation, sustained by inequality, and protected by corruption. And at the end of every one of these systems, there is a prison. The Philippines operates one of the most severely overcrowded prison systems in the entire world. In the next episode, we go inside, from gang-controlled blocks to women's facilities, to meet the people living inside those walls and hear the stories that have never been told. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. What comes next is unlike anything you've seen before.